Hey everybody, it's Bréon again. Once again, we are back for another episode of the Lesbian Dating App Disasters podcast. Today's episode is a part 2 to the 40-year-old fuckboy. Because there was just so much that just transpired in this that I still can't fathom how we just weren't ever gonna work in some ways, because things would just be so good and just feel so good. So to recap, I went out of the country with this woman. She fucked one of her friends when I was blackout drunk. Told me right before she was about to have sex with me, and made it seem as though I was wrong for assuming that we would be sleeping together on the trip. Now I recognize that the first red flag was the fact that we had separate rooms. That was the first red flag. The second one was watching her go back and forth between myself and her friend. The third one, and this is just from the trip alone, the third one, on the last night there, she walked away and then walked up with another woman. Just hugged up, arm around her kind of thing. Just real flirty like. And I walked away. And she was just like, Bréon, what's up? And I basically just kind of was like, are you finna fuck her too? What is up? And she's just like, no, I was just being friendly. We all know how that goes. I was just being friendly. We all know where that goes. I was just like, I'm not cool with it. I don't like how this feels. This makes me feel like this. So this was the last night on the island. We ended up going back to my room. She fell asleep. We fell asleep there. At some point in the night, she got up to leave. And she didn't go back to her room, apparently. Wake up the next day, she's like, oh, I'm so tired. Oh my God. And I'm like, well, didn't you go back to your room last night to pack and everything? She's like, no, I met some people in the lobby and we went to the beach. And I was like, oh, what'd y'all do? And she tells me everything. The fuck is everything? Red flag. And I'm just like, you know what? I just need to get home. I really just need to get home. When I sit and think about all the things that transpired, this woman took me out on a date, an actual date, as if she had plans or intention to semi-be with me. And it makes me feel stupid that I got all the way here in the mix of everything and was looking well, why aren't you sleeping with me? As if there was an unspoken thing that we got here and you were automatically just this free agent. And it still really hurts my feelings, actually. When I finally made the decision to be done with her, I gave her guitar back. She had lent me her guitar because I just have an electric and she had an acoustic, and I had been wanting to get a new acoustic and she had let me borrow it, and I gave her guitar, her dick, and her motherfucking groceries. The guitar, the dick, the groceries, all back. And ever since then, we've just been struggling to find a new norm, because we can't come back from everything that's happened. I think we both really want to, but we just can't. We went to this music festival and, dance with other people, that's fine. Dance with men, women, whoever, fine, But there were people that were really trying to slide in And it was also clear that she was like with me at this. And it just feels so disrespectful, because if I go somewhere with somebody that I'm having sex with, I'm there with you. Like, that's just an unspoken rule that I have. But apparently between my some odd years and her some odd years, there's a completely different level of what's expected and not cool. I feel like later on that night we had went to a bar, and there was a girl that was the girlfriend of the man that was selling barbecue at the bar. And she was so motherfucking flirty with her. She opened up a seat for this woman. And I'm just like sitting there like, am I not in the room? Am I not here? You done made a way for her to come over here and sit with us. Making all these little side things. She said something about sucking the girl, the girlfriend. And Jordan's like, oh, I got something you could suck. And I'm like, well, excuse the fuck out of me. In front of my friends. We were out with my friends. I didn't took you out. I didn't like try to integrate you into my life because you had just moved back to Michigan after being away for quite some time. Like, I'm literally bringing you into my life, and this is how you treat me in public? Am I crazy? Am I too much? Am I dramatic? Am I, doing the most? Am I overthinking? And I have moments where I am, but I think for just respect and how you treat someone that's literally naked in your bed 4 out of 7 nights a week, you would do better. You would treat them a lot better. It really just re-angers me. In that she came from Tinder. This is probably like the worst Tinder situation. For sure. Definitely the worst Tinder situation. We went out so many times. And in past months before like the final, like, we're not doing sex anymore, I would try to end it. And she would just, or if I was mad or something, like, she would instantly take me out to dinner, or she'd be showing up with gifts. Like, one day, like, I feel like she knew I was upset with her. So she walked in with like a plant, a big ass plant, and like something, and some flowers and stuff like that. And that makes me feel like you're manipulating me. And you may not realize it, but it feels very manipulative. Like, she would rush to like take me out to dinner to like smooth things over or something like that. And it doesn't make me feel actually wanted by this person. It made me feel convenient until the next person shows up. Because you can clearly have anyone you want. We went to an all lesbian party, and I know for a fact if I had not been there and been the woman that you were kissing up on when we got there, it would have been a whole different story. This whole thing really taught me how to listen to what I actually want and deserve. Because I know I deserve better, but I know that I choose these, these flesh qualities before a lot of internal qualities about people. And it still just hurts my feelings. And there was apologies and remorse, but what I wanted was for you to stop doing these things and to just be with me for whatever amount of time, like it could have been until summer was over. This could have been until like winter was over or something. But it was like, it also hurts that like even through all of that, with you saying, even though you like me this much and how much you love me and how much you love being this and doing this and blah, 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 that you still didn't like choose me, hurts. And I think that's a thing that I'm always feeling, is that I'm never like a first choice to the women that I involve myself with. And, my therapists and people around me will say, well, you got to choose yourself first. And like, that's real. That's absolutely real. And I don't think those necessarily are on like the equal thing. Like, I can still like choose my own self and still end up in a situation where someone doesn't choose me. Like, I did eventually choose myself and say, hey, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, this is what I like, this is what I doesn't like, this is all the things that I'm okay with, and these are things that I'm not okay with. And she still didn't choose me, and that just leaves me with salty feelings. And now I just sit back and watch this cute ass human exist through the world to be whoever they want to be, but not with me. And that hurts. Like, I don't want to invite her out anywhere because I don't want to watch you engage with other women. And that's definitely like a jealousy thing, like, for sure. I don't want to watch you run game on the game that you ran on me, running on other people. I've already watched you run it on somebody outside of the country. A couple people, actually. I'm good, my guy. I'm good. So good on that. But wow, was it... The sex was the toxic kind. The toxic kind that makes you stick around. How like Jasmine Sullivan and Ari Lennox, the song they have on it, and they talk about like how ain't shit this dude was, but the sex was just top tier. That's how I feel about the situation at this time. There are a lot of things that ain't shit here. But what you are serving up, ma'am, is a soul changer. Is definitely a soul changer. And for reference, we did have a conversation about straps. We had a very long conversation about straps because strap consent is important. It is very important. And there was a lot of, that's what it's. I gave so much trust to the situation and to the sexual exploration of this space. And that's another thing that makes it hurt more, is because I, for a long time, have been trying to reserve a level for someone that I actually wanted to be with. And I came across another person that I thought I actually wanted to be with. So I was ready to take all these steps in just growth and exploration. But they still weren't mine. And now I'm faced with like, well, do I never do this, and this again if they're not my girlfriend? And that's like, I don't know how realistic that actually is for me, because I don't know. There's so many people in the world and there's so much love in the world, which I've learned from past experiences. Like, there's not just one person for everything. There are many people who have the same abilities to do all the things and be all the things that you're looking for. But you never know when you're going to find them again. And to say goodbye once you have found it, I think is what is quite painful for me. Yeah. So, Jordan, not going out the country with her, not gonna, I really just can't put myself in any situation for me to feel things, jealousy, attraction, heartbreak, hopefulness, like all of it. It's just gonna lead to a road that I don't want, because also, like I said, this woman is 40 years old, and that's not old by any means, and it's not anything, but at the same time we do have a different concept of how we live our lives and how we see the world. And someone that I'm with, I want them to see things in a similar light, you know. I still want to go out and party, you know. I want somebody that still wants to go out and party. I want somebody that, you know, can appreciate, I don't know, I can't even think of things that like we just don't see eye to eye on necessarily. But in terms of just like cultural things, and then the way that the world is just shaped in terms of blackness and queerness and space and time, like everything is just different. There's a gap there. There's certainly a gap there. And with Jordan, we had moments, a lot of more moments than not, where the gap was non-existent, you know. It didn't feel like this woman was 40, and it didn't feel like I was my age. But when it showed, and that showed me like, hey, I can't do this. Another thing that I couldn't take with the space was that, you know, by the time you're 40, you know who you are. You know exactly what you will and won't do. You know exactly what time you want to be at home and in the bed. And one of the things with Jordan was she would be like, well, if it's after 9, I'm staying the night. You know, like I'm not going to go home or whatever. I'm going to just sleep over. And that don't always work for me. You know, like I want to do sex and then like you leave sometimes, you know, have the option for you to like leave. And that was a lot of pressure to like, okay, if you come over and it's 9 or something like that, or say you're here at 6 and then you're still here past 9, like you're automatically like still in my space. Like I want something that's a little bit more like free in that way, because I'm not a spend the night type personally. I will do sex and go home real quick, which was not me in this Jordan thing, because she would always come here, but it was just committing to having somebody in my space for like a long time. And I didn't know that it was bothersome to me until I've processed all this afterwards about like stuff that I just could not stand. There was one time that she got upset with me because I told her she sleeps too much. And I mean, it was hard because she would come over, we'd be here, she'd be asleep by like 10, 11. And then I'd just be up, still bopping along and doing what I do in my life. And it was just like, well, I didn't even get to spend any time with you. Like, you just got here at maybe 9 and then you're asleep. You know, like, that's not how I want to spend my time. Like, we're not an old married couple. Like, I want to see you. I love late night conversations. I love the good old, like, that 2 a.m. pillow talk, just talking about stuff, talking about nothing. I love that. And the moments that we had, those were some of my favorite moments between us. But that's just because I also think I function better at night. I think I'm a much more coherent person in the nighttime. So it was stuff like that that would get in the way of that, you know, just culturally generational types of things and maneuvering through space. This space confirmed that like I have some like some only child tendencies, you know, so like I've learned about things about myself from this space. So it's not a everything is damned sort of feeling, or I have all this negative things. I learned a lot about myself so that I can navigate other relationships and friendships and stop fucking my friends. That's something I don't want to keep doing. Like, this is really the last time. Like, if I'm already friends with you, then like I'm not touching that. Like, I'm like legit friends. Not like, oh, we just met and then we're going on a date. Like, if I've invested time into like you as a relationship, like I'm not having sex with you. I lose too many friendship things, and things just get so muddy, much like where they are with Jordan. After you see somebody naked, and see them exist in those sexual spaces, like I can't turn that off. I can't forget what I saw. I can't forget what you made me feel. I can't forget what I made you feel. And I can't turn those flashbacks off when I see you trying to be a fuckboy and flirty, charismatic with all these other women. So, Jordan, she really opened my eyes to a lot of things about myself, emotionally, sexually, and that might be why I feel such a tether to her. It's because of how that sexual relationship transpired. But we take it one day at a time, and we go to therapy, and we do a podcast to deal with it all. So, once again, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to all 34 countries that have invested in this project. It is going to be a lovely time for season 2. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.